with number 5, a new face in the BVP, Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, we got a couple new faces here this week. One of those being Kyle Tucker, who is on the season hitting over 300, around to 300. He's hitting 300, 18 homers, 74 RBIs, and an OPS of 885 on the year. You know, Kyle's also he's been wearing batting gloves a lot this year, which is not his thing. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Whatever's working. And Kyle's playing a Gold Glove caliber right field. He's great out there. And offensively, I mean, look at these numbers. 300 with 74 RBIs and 18 homers. Kyle Tucker has played himself into the MVP conversation in the American League. We'll get to it. He's in that top 3 conversation.
Okay, let's move to number 4, Matt Olson.
Matt Olson is on the heels of Shohei Ohtani for that MLB home run lead this year. He's at 37 now. He paces everybody with 91 RBIs. It is the beginning of August, and Matt Olson has 91 RBIs and an OPS of 967 on the year. 37 homers. He's been phenomenal. And, when you look up at the end of the year with Matt Olson, his batting average will never jump out at you, right? And that's a stat that a lot of people like to look at. But please start looking at guys' OPS and the number of runs somebody's driving in to talk production. Because I think it would surprise a lot of people that in the last 6 years, Matt Olson leads everybody in all of Major League Baseball in home runs.
I think that was my biggest shock when you said that, when we were talking about, is this the best Braves team of all time? I wouldn't have guessed that it was Matt Olson.
Yeah. And a lot of that is, you know, he's getting more hype now being in Atlanta for now a year and a half, a year and 3/4, whatever it is. But he was doing this in Oakland for years before this, for the 4 years of the first 6 of the 6 we're talking about. So not a ton of media hype coming out of Oakland there, but he's been fantastic for a long time, and right now he's one of the best players in baseball.
All right, let's move to your top 3, some familiar faces. At number 3, Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, Freddie's been, I really think that the NL MVP race, I think it's getting a bit closer. I mean, you look, Freddie's batting .338 on the season with 21 homers, 75 RBIs, and an OPS over 1,000 on the year. I mean, when you're putting up those sort of numbers, when your on base plus slugging is anywhere close to 1,000, and you're hitting .338 at the same time while driving in 75 runs, and he's second in Major League Baseball in there and average. I mean, what a season he's having. I really think this NL MVP race, though I do agree with who's the leader, and we'll talk about in a second, I think Freddie is closing that gap.
All right, well, let's talk about the man right in front of him at number 2, Ronald Acuña Jr.
Yeah, look, I still do believe that Ronald Acuña is the NL MVP. And I do believe it should be a fairly heavy favorite to this point. I just think Freddie's starting to close that gap. But when you look at a player that is, oh, guess what? You want to talk about high averages. Ronald is still hitting .335 on the year with 25 homers. And his average is 3rd overall, right behind Freddie, with 64 RBIs. And then you add on the 51 stolen bases. And we mentioned it earlier. Yeah. He's the fastest player ever to reach 25 homers and 50 stolen bases in a season. He did it in 106 games. I mean, this is a historically good season, and you have to have, in my opinion, when you start talking the big awards, and I've talked about this before, those moments, right? Like, or those, like he's doing something that hasn't been done before, and I think we're going to look back on that, and I do believe he should be, as of right now, the most valuable player. But his OPS is over 1,000 as well. So you start adding all of these things together. Do not construe what I was just saying. Ronald Acuña is the favorite in the NL to win the MVP award, and he should be. I just think we should be talking a little more about Freddie Freeman in the season he's having, but I think it's getting overshadowed a bit by the remarkable year with 51 stolen bases that Ronald Acuña Jr.
Which is what we were kind of hoping to see with the new rule changes, with the bigger bases and no shifting. So it's
baseball.
exciting.
Baseball is in a great. We talked a lot about the attendance, and baseball is heading on quite the upwards trajectory, and the new rules and allowing players to showcase their skills to the best of their ability is what I would say, because Ronald stealing 51 bases
is fun.
It's fun.
It's so fun. You know what else is helping? Our number one BVP, Shohei Ohtani, just the best of the best, back-to-back player of the month.
This is the best player in baseball. He's the best player in the world. He's the best athlete that I've seen in my lifetime. He's won back-to-back Player of the Month awards, which he did in 2021, but since him hasn't been done since 2012, and he's now done it twice in the last 3 years. He's got 39 homers. He's a pitcher with a 3.4 ERA that leads all of baseball in homers. 81 RBIs. He's got 156 strikeouts on the mound. He's throwing complete game one hitters while going out an hour later and hitting 2 home runs in a game. There is no single doubt in my mind and in anybody's mind. And if you're not saying this, then you're just being a hater. This is the best player in baseball. This is the best player that I have ever seen, hands down. Best hitter I've ever seen, Barry Bonds. Best player that I've ever seen, hands down, in my life, not even close, is Shohei Ohtani. Enjoy it while it's right in front of your face. Yep. This is fun. So a couple new names here. Kyle Tucker, Matt Olson are now in the top 5 of the BVP for the first time. Freddie, Ronald, Shohei, all been here for a while now. Yeah.